Hello, my beautiful people. How are you all doing today? You're welcome to another wonderful time with me, Blessing Jennifer, and you're welcome to this channel. Like, comment, subscribe, and follow us on all social media platforms so that you can get updated on contents that we share here. So today I'm gonna share a very simple life tip that you can easily implement on a daily emotion that we all experience, and that is, how do you handle and deal with anger? So let's say someone has offended you, or knowingly or unknowingly they did something that totally pissed you off, that just really ticked you off in a very bad way, and you've lost your temper, you've lost your cool. What should you do in such circumstances? And most times we see anger in its elevated and expressed form, where people have already taken an action, right? They've done something, they've exploded literally, sometimes imploded. It's an explosion, but it's exterior and another is internally. And when you experience the emotion of anger, how do you deal with this, right? And from a biblical perspective, anger is encouraged, that we need to know how to manage anger adequately. So it's not getting angry or offended or hurt by an action of another or even yourself. That's not the real problem with anger. Most times it's what it makes us do, or what it influences us to do. It's the action after that anger that is the real issue, right? What do you do after you are angry, right? So if you could do a good thing, which you would have normally done, but you were offended, then that's fine. But most times people are not able to do the right thing or the good thing that they are supposed to do, because they're angry, they're hurt. And I heard a wise saying, which I would say I agree with to a great extent. Hurt people hurt others, right? So if I'm hurt, my default tendency is, I want to get even. I want to hurt the other person for hurting me, right? I want to make them to feel what I felt, give them a pound of their flesh, right? And give them, I want to retaliate. I want to make them feel the burnt of my anger, of what I felt, or what I had to put up with, what I had to go through. And when we treat circumstances, people from this perspective, we don't get the best result, right? Because most times when you are angry, I think what we all subconsciously really want is an acknowledgement of our feeling. We want to be seen, we want to be recognized, we want to be heard, right? So if someone hurts you and you know that they know they hurt you, right? At least we're on a common ground on that. There is a hurt, I was hurt, and this is what you did that made me angry, and it's bad, you shouldn't have done that. And if the person acknowledges this, it somehow starts extinguishing the fire of anger that has been lit up in my soul or in the person's soul, right? And and once that acknowledgement of the hurt is followed with a sincere apology, oh, I see that I hurt you, and I am deeply sorry for doing that, I take responsibility for that, we literally almost have nothing to hold against that person at that moment. And then the person takes it a step further to say, I will not do that again, and this is what I'm going to ensure to do, that will show you that I would not treat you in this way ever again. There's nothing now to be angry about, right? The emotion, the anger, it's lost it's lost its value, it's lost its content, right? So there's nothing to be angry about anymore, and all that we are left with is forgiveness, because you just have to let it go. If you choose to hold it on, you have no case, because the person has acknowledged it, they know what you felt, they felt what you felt, and they apologized for it, and they have taken responsibility. What can you do? Then if you still decide to hold on to it, guess what? You are now a wicked person. That's how everyone will see you. That's how you will feel, because people hurt people. You have hurt people too, unintentionally or intentionally. So you can't hold that, right? But most times, anger is fueled more when there is no acknowledgement from the other person, when we don't feel seen, we don't feel heard by the other person, and they don't, of course, take responsibility for their action. Because if they don't acknowledge what they did or see anything wrong in what they did, they're still standing in their right. Then I'm more angry, because you're right or wrong doesn't take away the hurt I have felt, the pain that it has cost me, right? And the person is not saying that. So I have a valid reason to be angry. You have a valid reason to be angry. So what do you do in such a situation? That's what this video is actually focused on. Like, how do you actually handle anger? Because when there's an acknowledgement, it's easier to forgive and move on. But when the person doesn't see it, they don't acknowledge it, they don't take responsibility for it. So how do I deal with this hurt? Because I still have a case, I still have a valid reason to be angry. And that's the real problem, that's the real concern. That's where the action part of anger causes a problem, where you now act in the wrong or take a drastic measure that causes you and everyone else hurt, right? So what do you do? And I'm gonna tell you, it's really, really, really simple, right? It's more of a mindset shift I'm gonna share with you. So this has really helped me personally in dealing with uncomfortable situation or annoying situations. So the first thing this is my mindset when it comes to anger. I don't see anger as anything bad or good. I see it as an emotion. Emotion is a feeling that is valid, right? It's a valid feeling. If it was bad, then we're not supposed to have this feeling. It's how we manage it that's important. So I understand this. And this is like, this I'm gonna share with you is literally a tip that I use that has really helped me to understand how best to navigate with that emotion of anger, because it's a really intense emotion. It's very powerful. It's very intense. So I see anger as a road sign. So imagine like you are going on a road, you have the traffic lights, the red, the yellow, and the green. The green is for you to go. The red is like the stop sign, right? And then the yellow is like, okay, get ready to stop, you're about coming to a stop, right? So this is how I see anger. I see anger as a sign on the road, right? When you see an approaching traffic light sign, you're driving, it's a sign. So there are precautions I start taking, right? Oh, I'm approaching this traffic light. As I'm getting there, I probably start slowing down, because I know that the light is probably going to turn red, or it's going to turn, if it was red, it's going to turn green. So I start slowing down to follow the flow of the traffic. So when you see emotion as a sign, so if you find yourself in a situation where someone starts speaking meanly to you, you already got the sign, right? You can see the sign already. Okay, I start thinking ahead. Okay, I have not, for example, I haven't eaten today, I haven't slept well today. that means I could get easily offended because I am not okay with myself. I'm in a cranky state. I don't feel taken care of. So if I have to be in an environment where I could be triggered, right? Where the other people are not under my control, or the situation is outside my influence, I already know I'm triggered. I could easily be triggered because there are already internal things that I have not taken care of. Now, what do I do? So I might tend to find something else more powerful to keep me calm. I might choose to say, okay, I don't feel very good, so I'm going to restrict myself from saying much, right? I might listen to a podcast to keep my mind engaged, right? Feed myself with something else that is more positive, right? To prevent me from paying attention to the other things that are not in my best interest, right? So it's more like you're studying, you're paying attention to this external and internal triggers, right? So this person has done something offensive to you, you are hurt, you don't want to act on that anger, right? So they've already caused that offense, they've done you that wrong. We already saw the sign and we started taking precaution towards this. Let's say this, it still went out of control and you are angry, and you know yourself that, okay, when I'm angry, usually I tend to shout. So that shouting or yelling is the action that you take after getting angry. It's not the anger, it's what you do afterwards, right? So what do? You could come up with a phrase in when you are cool and normal, so you anticipate. So I am already triggered, okay, I'm already offended, and I know myself. If I am offended, I'm gonna yell. Or if I'm offended, I feel like breaking things. If I am offended, I might curse at you. I already know my triggers. I already know my tendencies. So what am I gonna do to limit myself? I'm self-aware. So what am I gonna do to prevent that action, which I usually take by default, right? So what am I gonna do to curb that action? I could, in my calm state, I could come up with a phrase that works for me. For example, so let's say someone has said something really offensive to you, and your tendency would be to curse at them back. Give it to them double, triple, whatever they gave to you. But now you tell yourself, I don't want to curse this person out, because when I curse them out, they are also offended and they curse me out, and I curse them out, and then maybe it leads to a fight or something more extravagant or something more like totally bad. What can I do to stop it? So I want to stop that action first of yelling, because that's where it all starts from, right? So if I can nip that in the bud, I will be able to prevent all the other negative chain reaction that follows. So what can I do? I can come up with a phrase. The first thing is I might need to leave that environment, and I need to come up with an exit strategy. My exit strategy could be a simple phrase. A simple phrase that said, I would like to respond to this thing you said, but right now I am not in the best state to respond to this. Could you give me some time to respond to this? You could say something like that. Or you could say, I would love to have this address at a later time. Could you give me? And I would like to excuse myself. You could say something like that. Or I really appreciate our friendship, and for me to maintain our friendship, I would hold myself from saying anything because I know I'm offended right now, and I would want to address this when I'm in a better state of mind. So you could even acknowledge in that moment that I am offended, but I'm not going to react right now. I'm going to address it when I'm in a calm state. And that is you taking control of your action, right? So you need to come up with a phrase that works for you in your calm moment, and it's a phrase that is devoid of any negativity. And you must do this when you are calm, not when you're angry, because when you're angry you're not going to be able to make the right choice. You're going to make a poor choice, right? Because you're in a retaliation mode, you're in a defensive mode. So you want to practice this word like in a normal state. When you're calm, you act it out, you play it out, and you see yourself saying it. You say it, you practice it in front of your mirror, you see yourself saying it, and you breathe. Take breaths, breathe. So you could do like, you breathe in and said, ma'am, this situation right now is very uncomfortable, and I would like to respond to it when I'm in a much calm state. Nobody can fight you for that. Nobody says you must respond to things immediately. No, I need to cool off and come back to it. And like I always like to share with you guys, there are biblical truths to all these tips I share with you. For example, there is a scripture that I found where it literally says that when you are angry, don't respond immediately. Sleep over it. Like literally sleep over it. Why? Because when you sleep, you become more rested, you calm your nerves, your temper cools down. And then when your temper has cooled down, you can make a decision the next day. And if your temper is still not cool, hold off. Because you want to make come up with a response in your moment of balance, like you're collected, your thoughts are collected. So the strategy I've shared in this video is you have to plan your response. Know your triggers, and when those triggers have been pulled, let's say you try to avoid it and still it was pulled, in that heated moment, do not give a response. And you must have a response you have practiced in a state of calm, which you can say to help you exit that scene, to give you time to come up with a better response. And once you've been able to take yourself away from that uncomfortable situation, and now taking yourself from that uncomfortable situation, it's not, you don't just walk away. No, you have to speak to the person. You cannot just walk away, because if you walk away, then it's going to be like you're snobbing, you're disrespectful, and that's further annoyance. But if you tell the person, right now I feel very uncomfortable to respond to this because I am offended, and I know I need to calm down to give a better response. Nobody can fault you for that. Nobody can fault you for that. I feel offended and I need some time to respond adequately to this. That is very, very professional. Nobody can fault you for that. And you can take as much time as you need to calm down. And also, when you are calming down, also know something. The person also has an opportunity to calm down. It's both ways. So you are indirectly buying yourself time, but you are actually buying time for two of you. And do not address it until you are well collected and you can even write out what you want to say and polish it. Like, look at it over and over and over again and ask yourself, if I say this to this person, what are the results I will get? Is this the result I want? Right? So your results has to be a good result, something that benefits everybody, for both parties, right? If it does, I don't mean you have to be, it depends on what the result is. Sometimes you might say, you know what, this relationship is not good for both of us and I would like to take myself away from it. That is still fine, right? No one can fault you for wanting to do that. So you want to make sure you know what result you want, and you craft Notice I said craft. It's a craft. You craft your response in line with that response result you want to get, right? And you must be calm before you do this, because if you're not calm, then you are still gonna make the result you might choose might be based on your anger, and you don't want that, because when you are angry, you're not in the right frame of mind to make your decisions, and the decisions you make most times are heightened from a place of offense, and it's always going to give you negative results. So that's why you always want to calm down, because when you're calm, you're able to take in all the different factors into consideration. You take everything into consideration, and you make a more refined and balanced decision. So I would definitely be sharing more tips on this emotion anger, because it has actually causes a lot of challenge for people, because it's a very strong emotion, very powerful emotion. And I will share more tips around it, actually, because this is an emotion that it's like you're playing with fire in your hands, not fire in your hands. The fire is in your hands. So how do you handle this without getting burnt, right? So I will share more tips on this emotion, and if you have more questions, share with me, and we will we'll look at this more further. Like, as I'm speaking to you all, I sense that there is so much I would want to share around this emotion. There's so much I would want to share around this emotion. So thank you guys for listening to this content today and listening in. Like, comment, subscribe, and follow us on all social media platforms, and stay tuned for the next video. All right, guys, have a good one.